I've been in the firefighting aviation for about 13 years now. So this is my second year here, and happy to be here. Appreciate it.
How's it going? I'm John Lopez. I'm the co-pilot on St. BlackHawk over there. Been a pilot about 3.5, 4 years. I've been employed with PJ since April, so pretty new. First year here.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Ricky Medina. I'm the mechanic for the BlackHawk over there. Retired Air Force. Been working for PJ. This is my second year working for them. Been working on civilian BlackHawks for about 5 years. Yeah, that's it. BlackHawks for life.
I'm Jack Hempstead, live up in Red Bluff. I've been down here for 3 years now. I'm the fuel truck driver and fuel the plane when it comes in. Thank you for all your guys' support.
So questions about the aircraft program here, and then I can talk about Marin County Fire, but any questions for them, what they do, what their mission is? I know Chief Weber came back last year and talked to the group, but the goal is to have this platform available. We had it the opening day, the open house day that we had the Wings in Wheels event was our first day that we onboarded the aircraft. And then we'll have the crew here till November. They're available pretty much from sun up to sundown. We have tanker cutoff time that we work with. So they leave the airfield at night and then come back the next day. And it's not just for Marin County. Last year we spent how many hours again?
We flew 150 hours last year, but I think about 100 of it was on campaign fires in Northern California area. We did quite a few initial attacks out of Marin County here, and some up in the LNU and the SCU out in Oakland, and some other stuff just north a little bit.
Yeah, so the ship is available and it does go out of county, but the main reason it's here is to keep all fires small. And we are a contract county for the state of California, CAL FIRE, and the mission is to keep all fires to 10 acres or less by 10 a.m. by the next operational period. So if a fire starts today, we want to keep it to 10 acres by tomorrow morning. And so the goal is to have this aircraft available to keep the fire small. Our tanker base is coming from Santa Rosa, so we typically get one air attack platform. We'll get 2 tankers, 1 copter from them, but we have our copter here available, which can have a really significant shorter time. And my job as the incident commander, I'll respond. I cover from the Golden Gate Bridge all the way to Tamala, south to Point Reyes, the Point Reyes National Seashore, and the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. So my job is to get there and kind of command the incident. Air attack's going to get on scene and be the air traffic controller overhead of the fire. And with 6 Papa Golf available, they're able to get there even before air attack gets there and make some initial drops that are critical for us before we can get resources in, because some of the locations in Marin County are very remote. So we have to take fire roads in there. We rely on our lookouts. We have 2 volunteer staff lookouts, so if anyone's interested in some volunteer work, we're always looking for volunteers. But those lookouts report fires to us. We have camera detection systems on them as well. So our roadside starts, we get really quick responses on, but we're discussing the Woodward fire in 2020, where we had over 3,000 lightning strikes over Northern California, several in Marin County, and we were chasing starts for about a week, trying to find new starts, and things were skunking around. So having an aerial platform gives us a big advantage on initial attack responses. So
I have a question.
yes.
You have changed the configuration of the helicopter because you no longer have an internal tank that we can see through the windows. So where's the water?
Emma.
Yeah, so they previously had an internal tank, so all the water, when they picked up water to do a drop, was inside in a tank. And now we have a belly tank, so it's on the underneath side, the belly of the helicopter, and it's expandable, it's like an accordion, and so when they take water through the snorkel, it expands, and then they can do 2 types of drops, a partial drop or a full drop, so it depends on the needs of people on the ground, what they're going to be requested. And yeah, so it's pretty thin. That's why the It looks a little bit different than the Firehawks that CAL FIRE has because it doesn't need a lift kit like theirs because it's thin and it expands, whereas the Firehawks that maybe you're used to seeing with CAL FIRE, their tank is fixed, and so they have to lift the helicopter up a lot. So it's kind of a newer technology, right? The Helitech tank's a little bit newer, so it's pretty exciting that we have that.
Good moves.
Lots of questions.
About 1,100 gallons.
It's up, right?
So
And where do you get the water?
it all depends on where the fire is. So there's a bunch of locations around Marin where we are able to get water from. Stafford Lake, Nicasio Reservoir, places like that. We likely won't be pulling from brackish or super salty water if we can avoid it, just because it's not good for the helicopter and it requires a lot of time afterwards to wash everything out and make sure that we don't have any of that salt buildup. So ideally clean water, ponds. You can't, people pull out of pools, but it's a little bit more difficult when you have such a large helicopter without a long line. So I know, I mean, there's done, in LA, that's Southern California, it's more common than here.
I thought I heard you say something about November. Does that mean you're not here permanently? You go somewhere in November, and if so, where?
Yeah, so the contract this year is 1 month longer than last year. So we have a 5-month contract this year. So we came on June 15th, and the last day on contract is November 15th. And it's just a seasonal contract during the heat of fire season. And so after the contract is up, the helicopter is no longer here and available for initial attack. And these guys go back to PJ Helicopters, and the helicopter that we have goes back to PG&E. So at that point, then it will no longer be here. So.
What's the weight of the helicopter compared to the weight of water it can pick up?
So it can pick up a different amount of water depending on several factors. So the outside air temperature, the pressure altitude, all of those things contribute to how much water can be picked up. So it changes. Every day we do what's called a load calculation. So there's all the different factors that go into it, and we usually do a load calculation for here at Gnoss Field, because obviously we're at sea level. And then we do a second load calculation for Middle Peak on Mount Tam, and that's 3,000 feet elevation. And so, and the temperature there is a lot different. It's above the inversion, so it's a lot warmer there than it is down here. So we do that, and then if we're going to fire or we're on an extended attack incident, say like up on the Mendocino, where maybe we're flying at higher elevation or it's hotter or what, they'll do different load calcs for the all the different variables. So it's super, it changes every single day, yeah.
Apart from a lightning strike, what causes a fire to start spontaneously?
Yeah. So are you thinking like spontaneous combustion basically, and not a human-caused fire?
It's not a human cause.
Okay. Yeah.
What causes a fire to start?
So certain vegetation has they have different oil contents depending on the type of vegetation. So if it's really hot and really dry and windy, it can combust, but I would say the majority of the fires that we're going to are going to be lightning-caused fires or human-caused fires. So a roadside start, like the chief mentioned, would be someone dragging chains, perhaps. That's a really common cause of a roadside start, or a vehicle fire that spreads to the vegetation. People mowing their lawns or weed whacking in the heat of the day. You hit a rock and it sparks, and then now you have a vegetation fire. Those would be the most common causes that happen. But lightning is really, really common as well. Yeah.
So I was going to mention this. So when we have the open burning season, you're going to see in Grass Valley and all the Sierra foothills a lot of people burning, and it'll be a very distinct small area. It might be kind of coming out and it's stuck in the inversion. But if you see a large developing column, and you'll know when it's a large developing column, that's when you should probably get a hold of NorCal or the Tracon or Oakland Center and just let them know, hey, I got something that's, I have a visual on it. It's in this area. If you can have like a better location, if you're able to kind of look at Forest Flight, pinpoint it the best you can, that really gives them a good opportunity. They're going to notify the Forest Service or CAL FIRE either way and let them know that, hey, we got a pyre of a vegetation fire in the area of this location. We do township and range, and we're able to quickly look and see if we have a burn going on or a controlled burn going on. But it's better to report it and at least let us know. And
because a lot of these are in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they're...
Yeah, so if it's in the absolute middle of nowhere, then that's definitely a good opportunity to make a pyro.
How do you see like with satellite or send a drone out?
So we have fire detection cameras all over the state of California. So that gives us an opportunity to move one of those fire detection cameras to that location, look at it, and then cross-reference it based off of what burns we have going on that day, and it lets us know. The cameras are good, but they miss stuff all the time. It's tough to decide if it's fog. So if you're able to if you're seeing it, you definitely want to stay at least 15 miles away from that fire, because if we are sending resources, you don't want to be in that area of influence. But yeah, if you see something in the middle of nowhere where you don't think a fire should be, definitely mention it to NorCal.
Where's the lookout?
So in Marin County, we have two lookouts here. One on top of Mount Tam, and so it's been there for a long, long time. The other one's Dixon or Barnaby Lookout, and it's kind of, if you're on your way out to Samuel P. Taylor State Park, it's up on the right side as you're going out to the west, up on one of the ridge tops up there. It's one of our key communication sites as well. And those are staffed pretty much every day during peak fire season with volunteers from 9 until 5. Some people spend the night, the lookouts up on top of Mount Tam. It's a pretty good deal.
Pre-registered to go and stay the night there's lookouts, there's lots of them.
Yeah, they're all over the state. A lot of them, are transitioning over the camera systems. Like I'm looking at cameras when I'm en route to the incident. We have a FIRUS aircraft that launches out of McClellan, and it sends me instant video live stream to my phone of what the fire looks like. But they'll be, at 15,000 feet doing their scanning, and I'm able to capture that, and that's going to the SAC Warning Center as well, so they're able to see what's going on pretty much once we have a confirmed fire. But as far as the lookouts throughout the state, a lot of the Forest Service now does, you're able to rent that, go on to recreation.gov and actually spend a night in one of the old retired ones. But the active ones you can't access. You have to be working for the Forest Service or volunteer with Marin County Fire.
But do you have any advice about activity around the TFR
Yes.
or before the TFR?
Yeah. Oh, I lost it. Help.
Our batteries died.
Yeah, so let me just jump in. We'll take more questions afterwards, but I'll just jump in my presentation and I'll mention the TFR stuff. And then crew, if I'm missing something, just chime in. You're a flight instructor too, so Marin County at a glance. We started in 1917. We were originally the Tamalpais Forest Fire District. Before CAL FIRE was running in the state, we were running a district of fire wardens throughout the county. And the main goal was to protect the timber industry. It wasn't really to protect anything else. It was to protect the investment of the timber industry to support San Francisco's growth. So that's where we started. But back in 1941, we became the Marin County Fire Department. And because we're in existence prior to CAL FIRE, we're a contract county for the state of California. So my patch has a Marin County logo, not a CAL FIRE logo. We do receive a significant amount of investment from the state to support wildland operations. And so what that means is we're different than Nevada or San Rafael Fire. When they ask for a strike team of engines or the helicopter or our hand crews, we need to send those resources. They have to go. And so we send a good 50% of our workforce on these major fires all summer long, making sure that we have a full workforce back here at home to protect us in the county. So we have multiple things going on. We have 6 fire stations, 3,400 of acreage that we protect, state, federal, and local private lands. We have a contract to protect the Golden Gate National Recreation Area and the Point Reyes National Seashore. But you can see we have stations down from Marin City all the way up to Tamales. They're strategically located with wildland engines, and our primary focus is to keep those fires and new starts small. But we go to medical aids, vehicle accidents, structure fires, water rescues, up to 2 miles offshore with some of our watercraft. So we're always busy on normal routine calls, but we bring in about 250 seasonal employees to support the wildland operations during fire season. So it brings our count up to over 400 employees that work for the county. And we have just had to take over dispatch as well. So now we dispatch for every fire agency in the county, and we have a bunch of other programs as well. So we have those 6 stations, 2 lookouts, and a contracted ambulance in Ross that we support. And then we also have a bunch of special operations programs which I'll talk about. Have you guys ever seen the yellow engines out there? Okay, so those are actually the Governor's Office of Emergency Services engines. So a lot of our resources support the state of California on the governor's side, so we send those resources out as well. But all of our engines are actually red, and those are working on the state mission side. And we have some other stuff that we do, technical rescue, we run the communication center, and then we also are the mutual aid coordinator for the county. So all the local resources getting pushed out to all the major fires in the state. We run 4 hand crews, so those are like your hotshot crews. They're type 1 crews, and they cut line, do handling construction, and when they're not doing that, we're doing fuel reduction projects in the county. We do defensible space inspections, we do dispatch services, 5 ambulances, and a seasonal ambulance out at Stinson Beach. So if you're ever out in Stinson, that's supported by us as well.
Is that ambulance still in service?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And then CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE has 21 operational units. This is different than the Forest Service. And these 21 units are basically geographically broken down in North Ops and South Ops. So you can see here basically the line is kind of right across the state. And MRN is Marin County. We're a small little tiny contract county. But we have Kern County, Santa Barbara, LA, Orange County, Kern County. All those counties are contract counties for the state of California as well. And so they receive funds, and CAL FIRE expects them to go protect state responsibility lands and send their people out to the fires. And we do a lot of special ops too. We run an all hazard incident management team that is law, fire, and EMS response. That incident management team went to the Rocky, the Jerusalem, all these major fires in the history of Northern California in the last 10 years was the initial teams that went to it. We operate an urban search and rescue team that deals with like an earthquake collapse or trench rescues or things like that. We have a state-funded swiftwater rescue team that supports a 16-person team that deploys all over the country. Went to Katrina. We have contracted services like I talked about, public information, and then the 6 Papa Golf aerial firefighting program. And so to go back to your question, it took me a long time to get there, but so if you pull out your old AFD, US Chart Supplement, way back in the book is page 538, and it's a short little blast about aerial firefighting. So 6 Papa Golf will be on scene pretty quick to an incident. And that's why I said, hey, that 15 nautical mile radius is a good rule of thumb to avoid, because those resources are going to be coming in very fast and may or may not be showing up on your ADSB because of the altitude that they're at. So just to be watching out for that. They operate in a 12-mile radius over the fire, and the first one is normally air attack that's there. Air attack is going to give a size up, and they're that air traffic controller like I talked about. They don't drop retardant. All they do is communicate and coordinate aerial resources. So they're going to be talking to me on the ground and giving me a size up report on conditions of potential and things like that. So they're going to be operating at, I'm going to say everything in AGL, but they're going to be operating at 2,500 feet AGL. And they're going to give an altimeter setting to all the resources coming in, and they're going to be giving that MSL for those resources. Below them, they're going to be flying clockwise over the fire, just running air traffic control. Below them, at 1,500 feet, is going to be our tankers. These are fixed wing. They're out of Santa Rosa, and they're S2T tankers. And they're going to be operating in a counterclockwise motion before they get cleared in, and they're going to call their base the final, just like any aircraft when they're coming in to make their retarded drop. And then our flight crew here is gonna be at 500 feet. And they're gonna be operating clockwise as well, and working directly for air attack. And they'll be released and go back to a dip site and then come back, clear back into that airspace to go make their drop. So the big thing is when you see something, just avoid it altogether. And then if you're in an airport that is, we don't have a tanker base here. Typically the crew will just be coming back to refuel. So they'll typically approach, from the pattern entry side and then come in on a diagonal and then exit also. But if you're up at Grass Valley, McClellan, any of these non-towered airports, it's just important to be aware of what's going on. You'll hear these tankers coming in. McClellan, that's where the C-130s are coming from. So you just want to be aware of those aircraft coming in and just kind of give them some space, let them do their thing, and then, extend your downwind, let them make a final approach and then get out. So that's my kind of gist. Questions?
Good work. Good stuff.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. That was an unexpected bonus. Appreciate it. All right, so our scheduled presentation this morning is Frankie Rodolphe, who's the founder of EA Chapter 1268 over at Oakland. He and I have talked a little bit about, and they have some of the same communications issues with their county or their airport sponsors we do, but it'll be interesting. But Frankie has experience with a Super Petrel seaplane, and we're going to let him tell more about that and give the details. Frankie? This is a little tangled, but you should be okay.
Okay, thanks. Did all the fire guys leave? I was hoping to catch them. Thanks for what you guys do. I wouldn't even be here if it weren't for the fire department in my hometown. And I'm gonna tease just a little